Hello? Hello, hello, hello? What's up? Is anyone out there in the chat? Probably go slow for a couple minutes, let people get in here. Type a sound if you're alive. Oh, 1 second. Back. Sorry, guys. Had to get this. How are you both doing? All three of you? What up? Anyone excited for some texturing? Okay. Boop. Come on, people, invite your friends and family. Let's get the stream poppin'. Let's get a big crowd tonight. Whoop. How are y'all doing? I think, Christopher, you've been here before, right? The 2 other streams, perhaps? I do think so. Nice to see you again. Of course, the same with Søren and Clarissa. What up? Okay. All free for this month. Nice. Getting some learning in. Okay. Let me turn down the music a little bit. So let's get into it. I'm sure people will hop in, even though we're starting, but we'll just take it from there. So for the people that don't know, I am Onua, and I am a student here at CADA Trumax. I'm currently on my 3rd semester, and today I'll take you through the very basics of how to texture inside of Blender. Of course, son. I'll see you later then. But yeah, how to texture in Blender. And to be honest, there are tools super specialized in texturing, and Blender is not one of those, but it is good for just very basic stuff. What's up, Pragum? How you doing? Been alright? I recognize you. But yeah, so as I was saying, Blender is good for very basic texturing, and that's pretty much what I'll be taking you all through today. But not just texturing, I'll also put some basic materials and colors on all our stuff. And I'll take you through what all of that means. And we'll probably do some UV unwrapping too. Sounds scary, but it's really not. And as always, let me know if the audio is fine and my mic is fine and the music is fine. Let me know if you can hear me clearly. Hold on. There we go. Yeah. Alright. Are people ready? This is where you make or break your scene, guys. No, it'll probably turn out great. We're just gonna put some color on it, a little bit of flair, make it nice and beautiful. So, open up your scenes, everybody, if you haven't already, and let me know when you do have it open so we can start all together. So I don't leave anyone behind before we even begin. And if you don't have the scene from last time, like your little noodle shop, feel free to download the one that I have pinned as a comment in the stream chat. And let me know when you have it open and you're ready to go, and we'll just continue from there. And also let me know if have you guys textured before? Is this gonna be new for you all, or have you done a little bit of it before? Maybe I can share knowledge accordingly, I guess. Whoops. Thumbs up from Christopher. Probably means he is ready. What about you, Program? You ready? Yeah. So I guess I'll go over the very basics, right? So you might have noticed that everything we've been doing so far is just very, very gray. I did some texturing on Blender before, but I like to do it in Substance too. Substance is amazing. I love texturing in Substance. It is a lot of fun, very rewarding, and everything can look cool so fast when you start working in that program. But today is Blender, and it's just gonna be the very basics, so no generative workflows or anything like that. Today we're just talking about the basics of texturing, like what is going on and why is all our stuff gray. So what's happening is that either Blender is assigning no material or just a gray white material to all our stuff. And if you're completely new to all of this, you might be wondering, but what are you talking about? Like, material in what sense? And you can kind of think of it just like the physical world, like our real world, where everything has a material, you know? Like this pen is sort of glossy, but it's a bit more rubbery and matte in the other end. And my skin is a little glossy, but you can kind of see light through it sometimes and stuff like that. So everything has a material with properties about how they interact with light and stuff like that, and what color do they have, and well, do they shine or are they just like absorbing light? Everything, right? And you don't need to know all of it to begin, but that's basically what the essence of materials in 3D is. Because when you render stuff out in 3D, so when you shine light on it, all that light kind of reacts in the way that we imagine it would react in the real world. That's kind of how we ended up with 3D software that has realistic looking lights. So you can think of it like real life. So when you have a roughness slider inside of Blender, you can, like, it's what the word means, like how rough is the surface. If you have a very shiny surface, you'll get a very bright little highlight, but if you have a rougher surface like this, it'll be more diffused and like a bigger highlight. But you can kind of see the difference right here. kind of see how the highlights on one is very thin and the other one is very rough. So you can think of it in that sense. So okay, enough about what materials are. We're probably familiar, but then how do we actually apply them inside of Blender? Good question. But what you do is you click anything at all, and then you go to the little bowl icon and it says material. So you go right there, and then whatever you click might already have a material on it. Some of these don't, some do. But let's say you pick something that does not. You can click the little plus icon here and you will get a slot for a material, and then you click new. What about you, Christopher? Have you done any texture work before material work? And for the people that are just joining into the stream, we are going over texturing, and if you want to follow along, it's not too late. Just download the file that I have pinned as a comment. Okay, so we can go into our material here, and we have a surface sort of area. Let me get out of here real quick because I'm kind of blocking it. Oh. I downloaded some stuff and put it on some background elements for my donut shop render. Okay, I mean, so I guess you'll use the opportunity today to make it real nice, and I'll show you how. So yeah, so basically what we do is we click something, we go to the material tab, and we give it a material. So let's say we wanted this to be bench wood, because we want a wooden plank for the bench. And I'll pull up the reference in a second right here. And then we're like, okay, well, we can click to select the color. Let's make it brown. Huh. Nothing changes. How come nothing changes? Well, it's because we're not actually rendering anything yet. Which means that for a material to work properly, we have to shine light at it. We have to give it that whole light simulation space to work within. Because right now we're just seeing things in a way that makes it easier for us to model. But if we want to see things with the real light, we gotta click up here. And we'll go to the rendered view. And now we see it as being brown. So try to get that, people. Just assign your first material and let me know if that is making sense for you. Whoops. Yeah, just assign a material and pick a color for whatever part. I'll pull up the reference for people to look at in a second. Yep, so here is the reference. And I'll get back here. Hold up. There we are. What up? So yeah, we'll just start off by picking colors for stuff. It's actually real nice and easy. So let's say for this bench, I'm just looking at what is like the overall color. Let's pick something that sort of fits what is going on here. And then yeah, we can add details later. Don't worry about it too much right now. We're just trying to color our whole scene. So let's say this is the color we want for this. And then maybe let's pick a red color for this one up here. It's like a very deep red, so we can kind of pull here and up to saturation. You can see, so we can also adjust how it interacts with the light. So if we imagine paper, well, paper can be shiny, but this kind of paper I would imagine it to be matte, and you sort of just have to go for your own judgment. So if I run my fingers across it, I would imagine it to be a little bit rough, if that makes sense, right? So I'm gonna reduce, or I'm gonna increase the roughness to kind of match this sort of highlight instead of that sort of highlight. As you see, it feels very plasticky and shiny, so we can increase the roughness and make it a little bit. It's kind of how materials work in 3D. And while I'm just going on talking about stuff, feel free to pick stuff in your scene and give it some material, right? And for the newcomers that are just joining, feel free to say hello in the chat. If you want to follow along, there's a link for you to download in the pinned comments. Feel free to download that, and you can follow along from just where we are. You'll have plenty of time to catch up, because I'll probably be talking about a lot of stuff, and you can just be texturing along while I talk. So yeah, let's see, what kind of other materials do we actually see here? We have this sort of yellowish brown, not brown, but like yellow-white porcelain type material. So let's try to give it that. And we can even give these materials names, right? So let's call it porcelain. Porcelain bowl. Porcelain bowl. And then we assign the color. We don't need to go too crazy with this one. Just a little slight tint of yellow in it. You already see that kind of looks like it, but I would imagine that this sort of porcelain bowl should be very shiny. So we go to the roughness, and obviously if you want it matte, you make it very rough. If you want it shiny, you make it very not rough. So you can see the highlight there, that's what I'm looking at, and I kind of go somewhere where I feel like it's right. So not too much as well. Unless it's like a super polished surface. Nice. Are people able to follow along? I hope so. And if there's any questions at all, just let me know, type it in the chat. I'm sure if you have a question on your mind, there's probably a couple other people wondering about the same thing. Program is able to follow along. That's nice. Are you working on your own scene, Program, or are you did you download mine? I'd love to see. Remember, by the end of the stream, guys, it would be so cool if you could post your textured stuff too. And I got the link for the Discord now, so I'll just put it in the chat right there, and people can join whenever they feel like. And for the newcomers in the stream, this is what our Discord looks like. And there's a bunch of cool people in here showing off a bunch of cool stuff. And by the end of the stream, hopefully the goal is for you all to have something cool that you can show off inside. Let me find that 3D Bootcamp. Hell yeah. Here's all the cool stuff from last time. Yeah. I took yours since my... Well, I guess mine isn't complete either. I think it's fine to take your own even if it's not complete. Like, I'm still missing some stuff for sure. For sure. Like this stuff, the rocks, the leak, the basket, many things. I think it's kind of satisfying to work on your own as well. But if you want to work on mine, I am honored, and you should do that, or feel welcome to. Okay. Let's move on. Let's keep going. So they have these kind of, I would guess it's kind of some kind of rubber mat or something. So let's go for that. Like a darker color. Decrease the roughness. Something like that. I'm actually not sure what kind of mat that is. Something like that. And these drums here. we can give it a metallic material. And I think initial idea for a metallic material, if you've been doing what we've been doing so far, is like pick a gray color and then just make it very shiny. But that is not giving us what we want, because a metallic material is reflective and it's not exactly the same as just being shiny. So what we have to do is actually use a different slider called metallicness. Oops. And for that to look real good, we actually kind of have to... So right now we're in Eevee rendering, which is kind of like a fast type of rendering, so it doesn't catch all the detail. But if we want to see that metallicness work real well, we have to switch it over to cycles. And if you notice, I will be lagging when I switch it to cycles, because the PC can't handle both the streaming and the rendering at the same time. But if you have a beefy PC, a beast, go ahead and try to use cycles to look at stuff and how it will actually look. Okay, so we just keep going ahead. So obviously now we're in a situation where a lot of materials are using, or a lot of items are using the same materials, but we don't want to go in and make a new material every time and stuff like that. Doesn't really make sense. So there are a lot of handy tools where you can just select a bunch of stuff and then assign the material to those things. But here in base Blender, what I will do is just, let's say there's a porcelain bowl material here. We can actually just make a new slot here and then search for porcelain bowl, and then it will assign like that. But just for the sake of being quick, what we can also do is click one thing, left click, shift, 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 and then Control J. Aha. So what happened was we took all those small boxes and we combined them into one object. So if we go into edit mode, you can see that this is now one object. And we can edit it as such. And now this object has the same material everywhere. Pretty smart, pretty smart. Okay, so I'll combine these two together, because they should have the same. These two can have the same, and we can always separate them out later. And now because I made that material slot, it's not working, but we just delete that. Great. These two can have the same. And now, of course, because they're together, it becomes a little bit difficult to separate them. Or like move them independently, but you can always go back in. So if you select like a vertex from one, you can, let's see, what is the hotkey? Yep, Control L to select linked. So basically it's everything that's connected or like stuck together, it will select all of them. And then you can separate. Let's see, I do use a custom hotkey for this. Yeah, so I guess P, and then so you click P to separate, and then by selection, then you have a separate object again. Okay. Okay, and we just keep going. Let's not stop. So let's call this red paper or something. And then here I will actually keep them separate for now. And you don't have to follow me step by step. Just go ahead and like put some color in all the stuff. And we'll take it from there. So all of these I'll just put together. Give it a little bit of a deeper brown. Hearts back to you. Person in the chat. Are people able to get some color on their scene? If you have a lot of small objects and you want to put them together all together, you can also just like drag a box around them and then Control J to join them. Right here we put a new material. Darken them. And you know, it's pretty quick how something can come together and become kinda pretty and cute as a scene, even with very basic tools. So like, and that was kind of what I was trying to achieve with this whole little mini series of boot camps, is like you can get really far with very basic tools, but you just gotta go through and do the steps properly and get the modeling detail in there. Like even if you're just using cubes, if you get it in there, it will look nice. You know, something simple and something complicated can both be charming. It's just about the execution. So don't think for a second that you need some kind of like ancient skill or mastery of a craft for you to be able to make something cute or pretty or cool. I guess it's better to do Control L than Control J because it links objects otherwise. You might be right, program, but I am not entirely sure. I think I'm just using Control J now to keep it simple for people. But feel free to experiment with whatever it is that you feel like is gonna work for your scene. My own workflow for a scene like this would definitely be fairly different, but right now I'm just keeping it simple in a way that makes it possible for anyone to follow along, basically. So all we're doing right now is basically assigning colors. These chopsticks right here. You can just go ahead and do that. This whole roof. And then the thing you select last should be the thing that has the material on it, because that will kind of take over everything. It's like you have one object here and another object here, and then if you select this one and then select this one and click Ctrl J, it's like this one becomes part of that one. If that makes sense. So the one you select last is kind of gonna become the parent of the other one. So, boom. And then right here we have a bunch of materials that are just white, and if we delete all those, then they'll just take on the other one. And now I feel like the roof is a little bit too dark compared to the rest. So what I'll do is go into edit mode. See if we can do this without. No, we cannot. Okay. Or can we? So I just drag a box and then I click P and then, oh sorry, Control L to select linked. So that's not working. So I'll go into face select mode and then Control L to select linked. P and separate. So that's a way to separate. You can also just not combine stuff and keep them individual. That's fine too, but it's just a way to separate stuff back because it makes it a little bit easier. And it's not that you cannot have whoops. So I'll make a new material and then I'll delete the old one here. And it's not that you cannot have multiple different materials on one object. I'll probably show how to do that in a little bit. It's just to keep it simple for now. Okay, great. Maybe this part has been hit a little bit more by the sun, right? So it's a little more yellow or whitish. The stick here, let's see, let's call this stick material. And now we can go over here, then search for stick material. Now we have a stick material. And you know what? Maybe we can even use a stick material for the sand. How about it? We can call this dark wood. Control J to join them together, and then make a new material slot, search for dark wood. It's real nice. So now we're at the point where there's basically color in everything that we've done. But sometimes just coloring stuff is not enough. We have actual like things like we need to paint in and draw. I'll show you how to do that in a second. But get your scene to something that looks like this, right? Like just get some color and everything. We'll take it from there. Are people able to get it to something that looks similar? Next I'll go over UV unwrapping. Just give everybody a quick little second to catch up. Has any of you guys been doing 3D on your own? Been enjoying doing some stuff? And while we wait, we can also see what it looks like in cycles. And for the people that are new, can we do this? Okay, there we go. Yeah, for the people that are just joining into the stream, it's not too late to follow along. Just download the Blender file that I have pinned and you can jump right along. What's up, Rivo? Do you like my cute little noodle stand? It is not a 3D scan, I promise. It is actually modeled. In case you couldn't tell. Okay, I'll assume that... Very boxy. Yeah. Well, that's part of it, you know? Can make something charming with very simple tools. Okay, so let's go ahead. So I will open a quick little different Blender scene right here to kind of show how to actually texture stuff, so how to actually paint on stuff, because So far we've only been going over how to put materials on things, how to put color on something. But what do you do if you actually want to paint something? So we can go back into this little rendered view right here. Okay, so let's see, what do we have here? We have a material like we're used to. So to actually paint on this, we need to use a different tab up here in Blender. So we have all the different tabs that are used for many different things. And so far, all we've been doing is modeling and building our scene. So we've just been in the layout tab. You can do different things. And right now what we're gonna be doing is texture painting. So right here we get a split view, and I'll explain what that is all about in a second. And while I'm explaining all this, feel free to work on your scene. You don't have to follow along with what I'm doing right now. Just like listen along and try to understand, I guess, is all. So in 3D, it works with something called textures. So a texture is an image file that contains all the data of sort of where there's paint and where there's not paint. So in Blender we go up here in the top and we click the little plus to make a new texture. So paint, right here, paint slot, and then base color, and we just click OK. And this is the resolution of your texture, right? Boom. So you see on the right, what happened is it gave us a white square. And what happens when we paint here, we can actually, like now we can actually paint stuff on our model. We can actually draw and write. I can write my name right here. And you can see what happens on the other side is, whatever it is that we're actually painting here in 3D space, the program kind of translates that and puts it on our flat image. Wow. Okay. Are people familiar with this concept, or is it like totally new and alien to people? And let me know if I need to go over something again as well. It can be a little bit difficult to understand the first time. So the way it works is we gotta unwrap stuff for the program to figure out where the paint goes, if that makes sense. So this here on the left is basically like a normal image file. And when I write my name here, new to me, familiar. Okay, so I'll take it from the very basics. So we can catch you up as well. So this is my name, and I'll write it on this side of the cube right here. And so the software knows that whatever is on this square should be right here in the image texture. And it knows that because this box has been unwrapped. So we told the program that this square right here should be right here on our image texture. So we can actually paint here, but we can also just paint here. So if we make an X here, you see it appears right there. But what happens if we make an X here? Let's make something different so we can see it. Well, where does it appear? It appears right here, which means that this square is equivalent to this square. It must mean that, right? So that's like the very basics of unwrapping. You basically tell the program where the paint should go on your image texture, which is flat. It's basically just like a PNG or any kind of image file that you would have on your computer. We could even drag in a picture of my face here, and you would have my face on all the sides of the cube. I don't have a picture of my face right here, but maybe we can drag in something else to demonstrate how that would work. So let's say Okay, hold up. So right here what you see is, it's a familiar situation. Right here if I write my name, Onua, you see right on this square, it's also what we see on this square here. It's kind of funny. So we can put in any image, and where the squares are and what's on the square is basically what will show up in 3D space. So if we draw across a bunch of them, you see it kind of splits it apart, like what it would, where I would imagine it to go here, right? So I hope that's sort of making sense to everybody at this point. It doesn't have to make 100% sense so far, but if it makes a little bit of sense, you're on your way, and it'll probably make more sense as we start to like work with it, I guess. Let me know, I guess, Kervin, because it was completely new to you. Is that making sort of sense? Okay, so let's go ahead and try to actually use what we just learned on something, right? So how about we try to make something out of this sign here? So let's write something, whatever we think our noodle shop should be selling. It could be whatever we feel like. So we select it, and we go into texture paint. Let me get this out of here for a second. And we can't texture on it at all, but that's because it's not UV unwrapped yet. So if you remember from before, these sort of lines that tell the program where stuff should go, they're not apparent here. So we have to unwrap it first. So there's the tab right next to texture paint called UV editing. Right here, and this is sort of the space that we would use for that. And we can see it's actually kind of unwrapped because of the way that I made this before, but yours might not be. So I'll just unwrap it one more time. So to unwrap it, it's simple. You just click U, and for this sort of little mini bootcamp thing, we'll just do very, very, very basic unwrapping. So I'll try not to do anything with seams or something like that. Some of you all might be familiar with that, but so I'll just do Smart UV project. Let's see if this will give us what we want. Okay, yeah. Oh, it is non-uniformly scaled. Okay, that is kind of funny. Let me see if we can fix that real quick. Oops. Okay. So quick little problem that I did not see coming when we need to unwrap is, because the way we scaled all the boxes in the last stream, the paint that we put on it will also be scaled, which is not exactly what we want. So we can select everything by clicking A and then click Control A and then apply all transforms. Or we should just click apply the scale, to be honest. Don't click apply all transforms. So that was A to select everything, Control A, and then click scale. Okay, and now basically it takes away all the scaling data, so the paint will be 1-to-1. So click it, U to unwrap, Smart UV project, there we go. It's upside down. You know what? Well, okay, so just click U and unwrap for this. It probably doesn't matter for what we're doing right now, but it's fine. So you can go back into texture paint. Let's make a new texture slot. Add it to the base color. Okay, and now we can paint. Let me know if you can get the sign to the stage where you can actually paint on it. And you have your brush settings up here in the top, so there's stuff like the radius, can adjust those. Let's say I want to paint it all white. And I'll actually change it back to the shaded view so we can see the true colors kind of. So we'll go for this kind of baby blue color. Lower the radius, and then we can paint in a rim. And guys, it's okay if this part, especially if it went a little bit too fast and it isn't working in your scene, because it's a lot. It's not painting, and I'm not sure why. So do you see these lines out here on the left side? If you see those lines, it's probably because you need to click up here in the top and then click the little plus and then click base color to make like a texture basically that you can paint on. If you don't see these lines, it's because you need to go back into UV editing. You see the lines, okay. So then it's probably because you need to go here and you should see a plain base color. If you don't see that, then click the plus and add a little base color. And if you're still not able to see what you're painting, you could try clicking the little render view up here. Let me know if any of the stuff just fixed it for you, or maybe it didn't. And if none of that fixed it for you, you can try to do the same thing with a cube somewhere or one of the other objects and see if you can paint on those. It's working. That's what I like to hear. Great. Of course, no worries. Okay, so let's keep on keeping on. So we can do a bunch of stuff with our brush. Right now it's very soft, so if I want to draw this kind of rim on here, it's gonna look a little bit strange. So we can adjust our brush settings up here. You don't have to, but I will right now. You can get very far without doing it. So I'll just set it to something that's perhaps a little bit sharper. So like that. And I can paint out here. Yep. I wonder if there is a line tool here. There probably is, but let's just go and make a hand drawn sign. Maybe it can add to the charm, the non-straight lines. Let's go ahead. Oh no guys, don't look at how unstraight my lines are. But we shouldn't worry about it. Maybe it's just that the shop owner is not a fan of straight lines. That looks kind of cute. A little hand painted. We kind of get the feeling of someone who's been like painting it and wasn't too careful about it. That's completely fine. So yeah, maybe I went over the fall off a little bit too quick. But basically you have these different modes here. And this is basically just like the soft brush. And then you have different kind of fall offs for it. So how fast it goes into nothingness. And then this one is like, it just goes to nothingness instantly, right? Are people able to paint along? Let me know, let me know. And I am on purpose not using my tablet right here because I want people to just be able to follow along with what they have. But you could go in right here and use a tablet. Now you see how it's way easier to get those like smoother lines, especially if you have like a pen display. You can kind of draw in whatever you want, and you can use pressure sensitivity and everything right here, guys. Okay, so let's just draw in something. You can write something. Maybe you can call it, let's call it Ona's Noodle Shop or something. Ona. And then that's a funny bowl of noodles. That's okay. Okay, that is not great. Call it noodle. Big, small. That's it. You can draw whatever it is that you want here. There's no rules. So go ahead and just do whatever you feel like should be on there. Yeah, that's it. Let me know if people are able to draw something. Get that sign on there. And we can move on to texturing a bunch of other stuff too. If you feel like I'm going too fast, feel free to ask questions. If you feel like I'm going too slow, feel free to keep working. There's so much stuff to add around here. You're definitely not without any work cut out for you. Looks good. Thank you. Can even see it with the cycles render. Okay, let's move on, everybody. Let me know if you got this working. So let's go back to the UV editing. So let's look at our little lamp right here. So it seems to have UVs already. I'll just roll with those. In case yours does not, go click U, and then you can either do no, you cannot do that. You can click Smart UV project. Let's see how that turns out. That turns out great. So if it doesn't, you just click Smart UV project. Go back into texture paint. We give it a new texture slot. And then we can texture away. So let's see. Oh, let me put up the little reference here so people can actually see what I'm doing. So you guys notice how there's like these black rims up here. So we could go ahead and try to like manually paint all the way around here. But I feel like that would be kind of difficult and sort of annoying to do. But we can also be smart about it because it's unwrapped in a way where this right here is the cylinder. So if you kind of see, I'm like gonna paint a pattern and you see how it shows up on the cylinder. You can kind of think of it like if you were to, that is gonna be, well, if you have your cylinder and you had to fold it out into a piece of paper, oh, you know what, let me just show it with the big mouse pad. Because this is kind of how to think about UV unwrapping. So you see my mouse pad right here? It has a texture going all the way around it. But you can unfold it to be a flat surface. So that's kind of the thing, the same thing with the UV unwrapping. This edge at the very top, we can draw that in the flat view, and then once we go back to the 3D, it goes all the way around. So that explanation might have been a bit convoluted, but in practice, this is kind of how it works. So you see how when we texture stuff right here, it shows up in the 3D or in the UV unwrapped view. And then we can just go ahead and draw a line right here. And then that line goes all the way around. And we can draw a wiggle, and then that wiggle goes all the way around. So let's go ahead and increase our brush radius a bit. There we go. So we got our little rim on there. And now we can write stuff on it if we want to. Now I'm not gonna pretend to know what the text on it says. So I'll probably write whatever it is that I want. What do we write? Can we find? So now we can look for the spot that's at the front. So right here, and we can write. So let's try to do it like they did. So we pick a white color for the back. Oh, it's upside down. Okay, well that's gonna make it a lot more difficult. Okay, well, that's okay. Let's just make a cool pattern then instead of writing stuff. Sort of cool, maybe a bit much. Let's just move on and see. We can always come back, everybody. You can always come back. So let's just move on. So this button up right here is for your tool. So right now it's in the brush section because we're using the brush, so we can go ahead and ooh. Okay, that could definitely be a little bit prettier. In fact, it might just be prettier without it. But let's see, this is trial and error. We're just painting along here and trying to get something that we like. Are people also able to paint some stuff? Most importantly is just to like try out the tools and sort of figure out how painting works right now. Well, not painting, but painting in 3D, I guess. So let's say that's fine for now. Actually, I like it more simple, so we keep it simple for now. Okay. And now we end up in this situation where these two actually share the same material. So our flag over here is sort of trying to copy what's on here, but it's not unwrapped in the right way for it. So what do? So tab to go out of edit mode. We simply gotta assign a new material to this one. So we can call it flag. And if we want to, we can copy this material. If not, we can just make a new material. That's fine too. We delete the old one here. So make it pretty rough. And then we can select all of it and we can see the unwrapping is kind of weird. So we click U and then Smart UV project. There we go. Go back into texture paint and then we give it a new textural slot. You can kind of see it's the same story again and again. And we just keep painting along. Feel free to ask if there's something you get confused about. If there's something you want to do and don't know how to do yet, let me know as well. And we just take it from there. Keep in mind, I'm just doing very basic shapes and patterns and very basic painting, so everybody can sort of follow along. If you want to do something cooler for your own, well, feel free to experiment, right? I think it would be cool if for the bottom that we sort of had this black rim pattern going across, so I'll do that. So, okay. Keep in mind I'm texturing on the UV map right here because I think it'll be easier for me instead of in the 3D viewport, just because I'm doing like straight lines and stuff. Okay, sort of cool. Let's make it a little bit different from the lamp, I guess. Oops. Okay, great. Man, I hope I didn't lose people. Let me know if you're still out there alive and following along, guys. Come on. Don't leave me hanging. I really want people to be able to make something cool here. That would be awesome. Now at this point we can go in and detail a little bit. So some stuff is going to be very easy for us because we combined things. So let's go into the bench, for example, then into the edit mode, select all of it, U, and then Smart UV project. And now we can go in and texture paint stuff. Scribbling on your lantern, great. Make something cool out of it, that'd be sick. I'd love to see it. So if you notice, there's also a color picker right here. It's very useful. Kervin, have you been doing any kind of painting before, or is this your like, you know, first time, I guess? So we do not want that base color, so we can select something that's a little bit lighter. Okay. So I'm getting a little bit confused why I cannot. First time on the computer. Nice. So maybe you have done a little bit in the real world. Okay, let's try to figure out why it is not letting me paint right here. Okay, interesting. Okay, for some reason my bench is not letting me paint on it in the 3D view, which is kind of interesting. Oh, it is? It is, just not on the top. So could it be... So yeah, so this is a little bit more of a complicated 3D problem, I guess. But it's basically just that my cubes are inside out, which is a little silly. So what you can do is click Alt N if you somehow happen to be in the same situation, which you might not, but you can click Recalculate Outside. Okay, so let's go back into texture painting mode. There we go, and now we can texture along. So let's paint over all the mess we just made. Pick a little bit of a lighter color, and then we can rough up these edges a little bit. So make it look like someone has actually been sitting here. So we can also paint a little bit here and then see where it ends up right here. And go ahead and do a little roughing up of this bench. Kind of see how just a little bit of love and care, a little hand painted detail can really make it pop, you know? It's not really something that's requires crazy skill all the time. Of course, you know, like knowing how to do regular painting and stuff helps a lot, but definitely shouldn't shy away from trying it just because you might not see yourself as the greatest artist of all time. Just a little bit can be kind of cute, and from a distance it looks very nice and it adds something, you know. It gives it that little life that it might have been lacking before. So we can lower the strength a little bit just to add some variation in there. Of course, if you're an expert painter or something, you might want to add your greens and your reds in there and all of that jazz. If that's something that you can have fun with, let's just say that's fine. Let's go ahead and detail the roof too. So back into UV editing. A to select everything. U, Smart UV Project. Go back into texture paint. Add a base color slot. There we go, and we're up and running. So maybe we can add a little bit of a darker rim right here. How's it coming along, people? I'm pretty excited to see your work by the end of it. being a little bit messy on purpose. I think that's okay. Just add a little variation to this wood. I think it'll just give it something that might be missing. Of course, this variation should have definitely been with the wood grain. Even if it is just abstract sort of color that we throw on, it still kind of gives an impression. So we just gotta be a little careful, but not too careful. And right here, clean it up. Can lower the strength and then pick like a huge brush and then maybe just give it some just give it a little something, you know. How's it going for y'all? We got about 15 minutes left, so if there are no questions, I'll just freestyle real quick. It's nice, thank you very much. I hope yours is turning out nice too, because I'd love to see it. So what I see that is missing, because now I'm gonna go into a little bit of freestyling, is we obviously need a little bit of that greenery right here. That'd be really, really nice. So these. So what you just saw was the same issue as before. I'm basically just making sure stuff is not inside out. Well, how do we get greenery? How about we do something real silly, just to show that it's possible to do a lot with very simple tools. Let's just have fun with it. Since there are no questions, I think, right now, so I'll just duplicate the spoon right here and then separate it. Bring it down. It's a little bit hard without my own hotkeys, but you might be like, what is going on right here? That does not look like anything. And that's the point. I just want to show how if you just put like the right colors of stuff in places, it'll just look really nice. You just can't be scared of it. Now we go ahead, put a new material on this. And there you go. Can copy it out. Copy it out some more. Nice ore node, yeah, like maybe an emerald or something. So yeah, it's pretty nice. Maybe we can reuse these. Go into edit mode. Some very, very square pillows. Oops, how did I do that? How did I actually do that? Wait. Okay, one more time. It's edit mode and then make them a little fatter. Add a loop cut if you remember from last time. Fatten it up. Okay. And now we can go into UV editing. Smart UV project these. Texture paint. Right now I'm just freestyling, guys. Like, you don't have to follow along anymore. I'm just doing it because I'm waiting for people to catch up. And if there's any questions, always feel free to ask, right? Hearts in the chat. Of course, we gotta add the base color. Might be a little too black of a black. Gotta lighten that up a little bit. Nice. Oh, it's duplicating it over there. Oh, whatever, I think it's fine. Let's just keep that for now too. I'll just use the time I have. But yeah, people just ask questions if they come up. I hope that you all have been sort of enjoying today and maybe learned a thing or two. That's kind of the goal, and I hope you did. Now we can actually texture paint on the back side, and you'll see it will probably show up on the flag. Oops. Or will it not? Oh, they actually got their own material now. Can join these and then give them a new material. Can go into texture paint mode. Give them a new, then we can paint on them. Amazing. Just amazing. bit too bold. Something simpler might be nice. Let me know if things are working out, everybody. I'm almost getting to the end. And we can keep doing stuff with what we have, you know. Can separate this now. Scale it up. Select this edge loop, make it fat, and then whoop, we got a little poly sort of basket. Maybe we can steal material from somewhere else. Oops. Sure, we can search for material 15. Okay. Also, I don't want to bore you all too much by me just making stuff. What was the green one called? 17. We just keep them as some kind of sticks. Okay, I think that pretty much concludes it. And right now I can click cycles and render it out, but my camera will start lagging. We can maybe do that right here. I think it's a pretty cute little scene. I hope you could all get something sort of similar. And I know my webcam is lagging, that's just sort of how it goes with these kind of... So I'm not gonna mess with any render settings or anything. I'm just gonna go right here. You know, just cause we did it, might as well add grass ended up most complex in this scene. Yeah, it is a little complex. It's literally just a bunch of spoons together. Looking for an angle I think is cool. And then when we want to, we can go here, click the view, and then viewport render image. We can hit that. Or I guess we can't. Yeah, I'm not really sure what's going on. Of course, Rival is nice. So, yeah, the whole rendering part is not really part of this live stream. Maybe we'll figure it out some other time. But for now, you can just go ahead and do this. And take a screenshot of it and post it on the Discord. I'd love to see all the work on there. Let's just try to click render image then. Yeah, you just click render and then render image, but then it goes from your camera position. So I'll just post this right now. Maybe like this. I think that's a cool angle. So go on the Discord right now. Everybody post your stuff, post your stuff. Let's share it with each other. I'd love to see all of your stuff. I'll even stay a little bit extra if there's some stuff that's being posted on there. Oh, nice. I'm glad to see people could follow along. It's very cute. This person was already doing stuff on their own, so I'll post mine too and see. My little noodle shop. Oh, my noodle shop. Texture style. There we go. I like the idea of the little wood graininess here. 700 yen. Is that expensive or not? I'm not entirely sure. Oh, the pillows, they could use some work though. I think it's alright. Good job, everybody. Let me know if there's someone still trying to post their work, and I'll sit around for a little bit. If there isn't, I'll call it, and we'll see each other again next week. I hope you enjoyed today's session and got something out of it. Yeah, hearts back at all of you. It's kind of the end result right here. And everybody, if you like this stream and you're too scared of typing or whatever or anything, you can also hit the like button. And I'm gonna say that like a real YouTuber, but if you do, it actually kind of shows the school that people are enjoying these live streams, you know. That make me happy too. So need to work on the wood texture. Yeah. What's up, Hadazep? Hearts to you as well. Okay, well, if you watch this at a later date, or if you're just finishing up and want to post it on the Discord, I'll keep checking it during the evening and probably tomorrow as well. If you're not part of the Discord already, I'll send the link one more time. It's kind of nice to be there because everybody is like really friendly, and it's cool to find a 3D community. And it's not a massive community either, so you can actually sort of get to interact with people. Okay, everybody, let's call it then. It was really nice hanging out with y'all. I hope you learned something, and I'll see you all again, hopefully, next week on Wednesday. We're doing level design in Unreal Engine. And if you want to follow along there, make sure that you download Unreal Engine in advance, because it might be a little heavy, a little bit, yeah, it's just a little bit bigger than Blender and stuff like that to download, so make sure to get that ready. Okay, goodbye, everybody. Hopefully see you all next time. Bye, and have a nice evening.